Today we'll be talking about Desiigner and his brick hard magic stick, and if you want to hear more about brick hard magic sticks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist. So today we'll be talking about Desiigner and how he decided he should whip out his magic stick for a flight attendant.
Couple flight attendants.
Yeah, he was just out here, jar of Vaseline, magic stick in hand, doing things that not normal people do on a flight. I don't know what he saw that inspired him. Maybe the flight attendant was looking a little thick and he wants some of that. I don't know.
Maybe he had Little Kim and 50 Cent on in his headphones.
That could have been it too.
He thought maybe just, follow along to the lyrics like it's a set of instructions.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, we have some paperwork kind of explaining the situation that happened. If you want to go ahead and take the floor and read some of that for the audience.
So it says here, on April 27, 2023, I became aware of an incident aboard a Delta airline flight involving Sidney Royal Selby III. Selby obscenely and indecently exposed his genitals and masturbated in a public place. These offenses took place on Delta Airlines Flight 120 aboard an Airbus 330 aircraft. I learned of the incident involving Selby at approximately 10:15 prior to the flight's arrival. After the flight arrived and the passengers disembarked, I interviewed Selby, flight attendant number 1, and flight attendant number 2, the lead flight attendant, and Selby's security guard, amongst others. After the flight took off from Tokyo, flight attendant 1 was providing services to the Delta One cabin, which is more commonly known as first class. Selby was a passenger in the Delta One cabin and was seated in seat 1J. After about 60 to 90 minutes after takeoff, flight attendant 1 noticed Selby's penis was outside of his sweatpants. Flight attendant number 1 told Selby, no. Selby then put his member back into his pants.
No. Can you imagine that? I feel like that's a rather mild reaction to have to someone whipping their penis out in the middle of the flight. They're just like, no, put it back. They just get like a spray bottle and start hitting him with it. They're like, you need to chill. Calm yourself, sir.
I feel like flight attendants and nurses see like the worst of the worst. So their first reaction is just, hey, little kid, don't flash your junk at me.
Whoa, pause. How often are you insinuating that flight attendants have to see someone whip their penis out?
I'm saying probably more often than the rest of us.
I mean, I have no knowledge one way or the other, so that's a possibility.
People do weird stuff. They don't call it the Mile High Club because it doesn't exist.
Fair enough. It'd be an interesting club. I'd like to join the club, but I don't know if I'd like to join it on a solo venture,
Sometimes I wonder if blood pressure works the same that high up, so, like, what's, does everything work the same?
I don't know. I mean,
I bet you Desiigner knows.
Anyways, let's get back into this paperwork.
About 5 minutes later, flight attendants 1 and 2 were servicing the cabin. Flight attendants 1 and 2 each saw Selby's penis outside of his pants again. His penis was erect, and he was masturbating. Flight attendant 2 told Selby, no. Selby covered his penis, and then the lead flight attendant came over to Selby's seat and told him that he was going to be arrested.
You could just cover your penis with a blanket and do the deed real quick. Just bust her off real fast.
Or go to the bathroom.
Bathroom's also a logical spot to do that, I feel like. But then, it might get uncomfortable if someone comes up to the bathroom door and they're like...
Less comfortable than the flight attendant popping her head in and scolding you like a child?
Well, maybe Desiigner was trying to impress her. He's like, hey, baby girl, you see what I got right here? You want some schmeat?
Maybe he was, she was hoping she would just see it from a distance and be like, oh, wow, what's that over there?
He's watched too much of the Pornhub. He's like, oh, no, are you stuck? Come here in my cabin.
Now, both flight attendants gave him the no. They were like, no, which does lead me to kind of believe that they see this more often than we'd like to admit.
Flight attendants, how frequently do you all see penis? Let us know down in the comments below.
Unintentional penis.
Anyways.
A short time later, flight attendant 1 saw Selby's penis out of his pants a third time. The lead flight attendant handed Selby an FAA violation card, which is a notice that states a passenger's behavior appears to be in violation of federal law. Selby replied that he was sorry. See, 3 times and you get the red card.
I think third time's a charm. Maybe he was thinking, hold up, she wasn't into it the first 2 times. The third time, she'll definitely love my penis.
At this point, he's definitely trying to finish the deal or get something going.
What if he already finished and he's just chilling in a blanket?
He's really relaxed. He just didn't have time for the cleanup. So she caught him post, in that little gap in between. She's like,
Bruh.
sir, can you please put your penis back in your pants? He's like, oh, I was going to, but you caught me before I could.
Oh my gosh. We have like Desiigner pictured pretty much in like a cum cocoon in first class.
It's ectoplasm.
I'm dead. I can't take this seriously. Why did he have to be told to put his penis away 3 times? Oh my gosh. You need to continue the story. I can't. Continue. It's time to continue.
At the request of the flight attendants, Selby moved to the rear of the plane and was seated near 2 travel companions who agreed to monitor him. When Selby initially stood up to move seats, a jar of Vaseline dropped into the aisle. Once seated with his companions, Selby told his security guard that he was bugging and had messed up and that he was sorry. He engaged in no additional acts of exposure or masturbation during the flight. At the end of the flight, Selby apologized to the airline staff.
Yeah, he was for sure bugging. Like, who uses Vaseline to jerk off?
Yeah, this leads me to believe that he was either taking something to make him feel good, or, I don't know, he was just really into Vaseline, likes the smell or something.
Well, think how messy that is. You're just down there in oily, cummy mess.
Pure petroleum, baby.
Ew.
All jelly.
Yeah, he was mentally ill for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and keep reading this article before we get too deep into the jerking off comments.
Deep.
But let us know down below. Do you jerk off with Vaseline?
When Flight 120 arrived in Minneapolis, Selby was detained and taken to a conference room at Terminal 1 of the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, where I interviewed him. The interview was audio recorded. I began the interview by providing Selby a Miranda warning. I asked what had happened. Selby said he was returning after performing in Japan, where he didn't really get much cootie. As a result, he said he was brick hard when he got on the plane.
He called it cootie?
That's what it says in the report.
I guess girls do have cooties. Makes sense.
I think he meant coochie. The guy just wrote it down wrong.
You think he's just ignorant? He's like one of those white guys like trying to like be accepted. He's like, me too, brother. For sure.
He holds out like the extended fist, but doesn't get the reciprocation and has to pull
Ew,
back.
I don't know if I'd want to be touching Designer's hands at this very moment, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you could gauge which one's the dominant hand, then you could ask for the opposite.
What if he's going for like kind of a vibe where he doesn't use the dominant hand, so it feels more like a stranger?
Yeah, then I mean, general non-touch would be the protocol.
I can't with this episode. You need to keep reading the story now.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's keep it
You want to
going.
take it back to the Vaseline?
No, we're not backtracking to the Vaseline, but let us know in the comments below on the Vaseline. I don't think anyone does this. Designer's weird.
Selby said that on the plane he saw a real great, beautiful lady, and I just kind of showed her the magic stick. He confirmed that the magic stick referred to his penis. He said the beautiful lady was a female flight attendant with red hair, and this fit the physical description of flight attendant number 2. I asked if he took his penis out on purpose. Selby said, yeah, she was turning me on. He said he exposed himself because I didn't have anything in like a week, which I understood to mean he had not had sex in about a week. I asked if he thought his actions interrupted Flight Attendant 2's work, and he said, I thought I was giving her encouragement to keep pushing. You know what I mean? To keep striving for it.
So, all right. So I was kind of right. He did see a nice little thick flight attendant, and he was like, you go, girl. You want some meat? And she was like, gross. And he's like, encouraged?
Yeah. He probably should have taken the hint from the first no, which I'm sure was delivered with the firm finger.
But hold on. It depends how you say no. As there's that one comedy skit. Was it no, stop, or was it no?
All right. Depends on the context. Are you in court or are you in the bedroom? This is an airplane.
This is an airplane. So I'm inclined to believe it was more of a no.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm trying to just collect garbage or bring you the thing you ordered. Why is your penis out?
Take your peanuts and stop jerking off.
Take your peanuts or your penis?
Well, put your penis away and take the peanuts. All right. Shut your goofy ass up and finish this story.
Selby said that one of the flight attendants told him, you can't do that on a flight. Kids might walk past. But when I asked Selby if he exposed himself a second time, he said, yeah, I have to do it twice. Once for flight attendant 2 and once for her friend. Selby described the friend as a female flight attendant with long blonde hair, which fitted a physical description of flight attendant number 1. So now we're back to the second exposure.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, if a kid walks by, that's definitely super bad for the whole thing. But you know, maybe he has a point. Sometimes you do have to go twice because, you know, like the first time doesn't last as long. So you have to have that prolonged kind of, you know what I'm saying? You know, when you're about to have like a little hot thing come over and you're like, I better go ahead and beat my stuff before she comes over so I last longer.
I think they call that the something about Mary defense.
I didn't know there was that name for it, but that does make sense.
Yeah, that's the advice he receives in the movie.
But I mean, for yourself, you have to last longer for yourself too. Desiigner is bugging. This man needs mental help.
That's the forgetting Sarah Marshall defense. It's where you practice, not just for yourself, but for future endeavors. It's about thinking long term, making investments in yourself.
I can't with you, sir. Finish reading this. Keep her going. Keep her going. Keep it pushing.
I asked Selby if he was under the influence. He said no. Selby stated he had recently been prescribed medicine in Thailand, and he showed me medicines bearing labels from Bangkok Hospital. He said he had not taken medicine prior to exposing himself on the airplane. He had only taken vitamins. Selby did not appear to me to be impaired. He appeared to understand all my questions, which he answered with coherent responses. Selby is charged with 1 count of indecent exposure on an aircraft. The alleged offense is a misdemeanor, punishable by no more than 90 days imprisonment and a $500 fine. Selby will make his initial appearance before a magistrate judge in the U.S. District Court at a later date.
Well, at least we know now that masturbating on a plane is only a misdemeanor. Jesus Christ, please make that a worse charge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just only going to embolden people.
What?
I mean, look at the charge he got. It's like nothing.
You're like, well, it's only 90 days. I might as well. If I need to beat my stuff, I need to beat my stuff. I'm in a plane.
I mean, it's like barely anything.
Can you imagine? A lot of people aren't flying first class. You're just like, hey, guys, excuse me. I'm going to just get a little comfy right here.
The FAA is going to have to change its regulations on Vaseline specifically.
What?
People are just going to start bringing it in like gallons.
Pause. We've already discussed how Vaseline is not the standard form of masturbation. At least I don't believe so.
We haven't got the poll back yet. We don't know. They might be the standard form.
Are you using Vaseline?
Mm-mm.
All right, I think we've solved that answer because that's 2 for 2 that don't use Vaseline.
So you just group me in there with all the basic 90%ers. Thank you.
Are you calling me basic?
You calling me basic?
Yes. Anyways, I think we're going to end that right there. So let us know down in the comments below. Should jacking off on a plane be a more severe charge? Was Desiigner bugging? Does Desiigner just need mental help? Let us know in the comments down below. With that being said, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist. Jesus Christ.